morning. Welcome to 모닝스페셜. 여러분 안녕하세요. 8월 12일 월요일 최수진의 모닝스페셜입니다. Every person, country or culture has significant milestones that mark the achievements and obstacles encountered along the road. And for our nation, this year marks the centennial anniversary of the movement that laid the foundations of our society. That particular piece of history is moreover a source of inspiration, recognized by the international community, as shown in a special exhibition in India. 그렇습니다. 인도의 수도 뉴델리에서 3.1운동을 기념하는 100주년 기념전이 열린다고 합니다. 1919년 3월 1일 날씨 맑음이라는 제목의 이번 전시는요. 오는 8월 14일부터 9월 29일까지 인도 국립현대미술관에서 만나실 수 있는데요. 전시 주제는 기록, 기억, 기념이라고 합니다. 이번 전시회는 이상현, 송승현 등 한국 작가 12명의 작품을 소개한다고 하는데요. 이상현 작가의 작품 조선의 낙조는 조선 황실의 비극적인 종말을 다루고 있으며 손승현 작가의 삶의 역사는 재외동포의 초상사진과 그들의 목소리를 표현하였다고 합니다. Now, we can't change the past, that is, but by learning from it, we can certainly change the future. And with that in mind, let me give you a quiz question. We can use this word to refer to 100 years. 1번 mystery, 2번 century. 오늘도 청취자 여러분의 많은 참여 기다리고 있습니다. 정답 보내주신 분들 중에 총 5분께 추첨을 통해서 고칼슘 쌀룬두유 보내드리겠습니다. 또 여러분의 소식과 소감 그리고 방송 중 궁금한 질문 있으시면 보내주세요. 짧은 문자 50원, 긴 문자 100원에 샵 1045고요. 반디 게시판이나 카카오톡 플러스 이용도 가능합니다. Okay then, let's kick off today's show with today's global headlines. 세계 각국 언론사들의 어떤 헤드라인이 올라왔는지 살펴보는 시간입니다. Touch Global Headlines.
North Korea has sent a letter to the U.S. indicating willingness to engage in talks while stepping up pressure on South Korea.
북한이 미국에는 친선을 보낸 가운데 남한에는 압박을 지속하는 이중전략을 펴고 있습니다.
Protesters in Hong Kong have taken to the streets for the 10th consecutive week.
범죄인 인도법 완전 철폐를 요구하는 홍콩 시민들의 시위가 10주 연속 열렸습니다.
The 1400th so-called Wednesday demonstrations are set to take place this week in 34 cities across 10 countries.
오는 14일 1,400회를 맞는 수요 시위가 10개국 34개 도시에서 열립니다.
The death toll from a massive landslide in Myanmar continues to rise.
지난 9일 발생한 미얀마 산사태의 사망자 수가 계속 늘고 있습니다.
At least 57 people have died in a fuel tanker explosion in Tanzania.
아프리카 탄자니아에서 유조차가 폭발해 최소 57명이 사망했습니다.
Victims of sex offender Jeffrey Epstein have expressed outrage over reports of his apparent suicide.
미성년자 성범죄 혐의로 수감된 제프리 앱스타인의 옥중 사망 소식에 피해 여성들은 분노하고 있습니다. And for the headlines and more, we have Walter 선생님 in the studio. Of course, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you as well. Kind of a gray good morning to all of our listeners and any viewers out there. I think a lot of rain throughout the country. So, of course, as always, give yourself some extra time on the roads.
Yes.
Stay safe, stay dry, and do what you can to be safe.
As an indirect effect of some of the other typhoons affecting parts of Asia, we're getting a bit of rain today, quite a lot in fact. And in the central regions where we are right now, we're expecting expecting rain until tomorrow, I believe.
I believe so. The forecasts have said as such, and that rain is also coupled with still heat advisories and heat warnings for a lot of the country as well. So a bit of an attack from two sides. Speaking of the weather, of course.
All right. Well, everyone, please do stay dry and stay safe. 김종석 님이요. 힘차게 시작합시다. Happy Monday! 이렇게 보내주셨어요. 선생님, 박혜숙 님의 사연 읽어주시겠어요? Short and sweet.
Yes, indeed. A short and sweet message saying, good morning, guys.
네, 좋습니다. 사연 하나만 더 읽어주세요.
We also have here from Chae-Yun-shik listener, Beat the Monday Blues with Morning Special.
네, Monday Blues가 바로 월요병이죠. 월요병 없는 월요일 시작해보도록 하겠습니다. 양순열 님도 환영합니다. 출첵해요. 이렇게 보내주셨어요. 안산도 비가 내립니다. 한 주도 힘차게 시작합니다. 이렇게 보내주셨어요. Thank you all for writing in and for tuning in this morning. We're going to find out what's happening around the world first. But if you'd like to listen to the headlines again, you can do so by visiting our website. 방금 들으신 헤드라인은요. 모닝스페셜 홈페이지 헤드라인 다시 듣기에서 무료로 다시 들으실 수 있습니다. 많은 이용 바랍니다. Let's go over the headlines.
Headline number 1. North Korea has sent a letter to the U.S. indicating willingness to engage in talks while stepping up pressure on South Korea.
북한이 미국에는 친서를 보낸 가운데 남한에는 압박을 지속하는 이중전략을 펴고 있습니다.
So the letter to the U.S., at least the U.S. response to it, came, as many things do these days, via Twitter, with U.S. President Donald Trump mentioning on Twitter that he was not concerned with, again, recent launches of missiles that South Korea has conducted, saying that he did receive, quote-unquote, a nicely written letter from North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. And in that, President Trump said that the focus of the letter was that the so-called joint military exercises were being called ridiculous and expensive. That's, of course, according to President Trump, according to the content of that letter.
Right. So that's according to what was said on the 10th, according to a tweet uploaded by the US president himself. And as you said, it does seem like both Washington and Pyongyang are upping their pressure on us here in Seoul because a day later, North Korea expressed its official position on this issue.
Yes, indeed. They did make it clear that North Korea would not resume talks with the South until or unless the South would stop the joint exercises with the United States.
네, 그렇습니다. 어제가 이제 한미 연합 지휘소 훈련 첫날이었거든요. 근데 북한은 북한 외무성은요, 우리 측이 한미훈련에 대한 해명을 하기 전에는 어떤 접촉도 하기가 어렵다라는 공식 입장을 밝혔고요. 그에 앞서서 하루 전에 말씀해 주신 대로 트럼프 대통령이 트윗을 통해서 김 위원장으로부터 친서를 받았다. 그러면서 북미 대화 어떤 협상이 재개될 것이라는 것을 암시했습니다.
North Korea has also again stated that it would like South Korea to be not involved in a series of talks between the North and the U.S. as well.
그래서 북한의 입장을 보면은요, 미국에 대해서는 좀 우호적인 입장을 좀 취하고 있는 것 같고, 우리 측에게는 좀 그렇지 못하고 있거든요. 우리 정부의 입장은 일단은 좀 신중 모드를 펼치자 이런 입장입니다. 그래서 북미 실무 협상 진전 여부에 따라서 반응을 할 것으로 그렇게 전문가들은 보고 있습니다. Let's go over the next headline.
Headline number 2. Protesters in Hong Kong have taken to the streets for the 10th consecutive week.
범죄인 인도법 완전 철폐를 요구하는 홍콩 시민들의 시위가 10주 연속 열렸습니다.
So there are, of course, some developments here. These protests have been ongoing, as the headline says, for some 10 weeks now, but there have been a few small changes that perhaps are worthy of note here this morning. One of them is that in the recent protests, the police had taken what many are calling as the unusual step of denying permits for these protests, making then the protesters having to engage in what many are calling flash protests. In addition, we've seen the UK getting somewhat involved now because there are reports that Chinese officials are upset that British Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab had a telephone conversation with Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam, and that was on Friday about the demonstrations.
China is, of course, saying to the UK, step back. Hong Kong is none of your business anymore.
Anymore, yes.
But about those permits, about these rallies, Victoria Park, I believe, was the only place where police had permitted protests of any sort to be held. But of course, they were held all across Hong Kong.
Exactly right. So the reason police gave for denying permits for protests in these other areas was that they expected the protests would invite violence. And there were, as you said, protests that did go on in several other places. One that caught a lot of the international attention was a sit-in at the airport, which is the second such sit-in since Friday. This most recent one had many of the thousands of protesters there at the airport singing one of the songs from Les Miserables,
right,
as a protest song as well there. And some of the protesters also blocked the Cross Harbor Tunnel.
그렇군요. sit-in protest는 연자 시위를 말합니다. 그래서 홍콩 국제공항에서는 연자 시위가 지금 한 3, 4일째 이어지고 있다고 하고요. 그러니까 중국 본토인들 또 외국인들에게 홍콩 시위에 대한 지지를 해달라라는 호소하는 내용이라고 합니다. 뿐만 아니라 1997년 홍콩 반환을 축하하기 위해서 중국이 홍콩에 선물한 골든 보히니아 동상이라는 게 있는데 그 동상을 훼손하는 일도 어제 지난 주말에 발생했습니다. And the protesters are asking for what?
Well, of course, this all did start months ago in June with, of course, the critics of the government there demanding the withdrawal of this amended bill that would allow the government to send criminal suspects elsewhere for trial, including, of course, mainland China, the so-called extradition bill. Since then, they've been calling for the complete withdrawal of that
Right.
bill.
Not postponing it.
Exactly right.
Yep.
They've also been calling for the leader of Hong Kong to step down. They've been calling for investigations into alleged police brutality there as well, and they've been calling for more lenient sentencing for the people who have already been arrested.
네, 그 시민들의 요구는요, 송환법의 완전 철폐, 그 다음에 시위를 진압한 경찰에 대한 어떤 문책, 그리고 행정장관의 퇴진 등입니다. Okay, let's go on to our next headline.
Headline number 3. The 1400 so-called Wednesday demonstrations are set to take place this week in 34 cities across 10 countries.
오는 14일 1,400회를 맞는 수요 시위가 10개국 34개 도시에서 열립니다.
And of course, the headline mentions 34 cities across 10 countries, of course, South Korea being one of those 10 countries, said to be taking place in 13 cities across South Korea, and then again in another 21 cities in 9 foreign countries, including, perhaps interestingly, Japan, as well as the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and several other countries as well.
And for those of our listeners who are not familiar, or maybe people new to Korea, what is a Wednesday demonstration?
Well, the Wednesday demonstrations, as the headline mentions, are now in their 1,400th. So that means they can trace their origin back to 1992. And that was a result of a testimony given by one of the victims of Japan's wartime sexual slavery. That testimony came on August 14th, 1991.
Right.
And that's, of course, what led to the so-called Wednesday demonstrations. In addition, August 14th has now been designated as an International Memorial Day for Japanese military sexual slavery victims, and that traces its roots back to 2012.
네, 그렇습니다. 수요 시위는요, 1992년 1월부터 시작이 됐는데요. 김학순 할머니가 처음으로 이제 피해자임을 공개 증언을 했어요. 그런 다음에 일본 총리 방한을 계기로 1992년 1월 8일부터 시작이 됐습니다. 근데 이번 주 이제 14일 같은 경우에는 이 수요 시위 1,400차이자 또 제7차 세계 일본군 위안부 피해자의 기림일이기도 하거든요. 지금 월턴 선생님이 설명을 잠시 해주셨는데 이 기림일 같은 경우에는 김 할머니의 용기 있는 증언을 기억하고자 만들어진 날이고요. 2012년부터 지정됐습니다. So these protests will be taking place, as you said, mostly by Koreans, I understand, or people related to this historical atrocity.
Yes, indeed, that is the case. And here in Korea, at least in Seoul specifically, the demonstrations will be held in front of the location of the former location of the Japanese embassy, although the new embassy is not far from that location. It will be attended by some 60 civic groups, and of course, there will be many things going on to mark the occasion. And that will be, again, of course, Wednesday from noon to approximately 1:30 in the afternoon.
Right, and basically they're asking for an official apology from the Japanese government on these matters. 정의기억연대는요, 14일 국내 13개 도시 그리고 해외 9개국의 21개 도시에서 공동 행동을 진행한다고 어제 밝혔습니다. Let's go on to our next headline.
Headline number 4. The death toll from a massive landslide in Myanmar continues to rise.
지난 9일 발생한 미얀마 산사태의 사망자 수가 계속 늘고 있습니다.
Now, the latest figure that I have seen in regards to the death toll there in Myanmar is 52. That's coming from a brigadier general who's involved with operations there. That in itself is telling the severity of the slides have meant that the military is now pitching in to help there with helicopters, delivering supplies, and there have been hundreds of soldiers, firefighters, and local rescue workers doing their best to recover people, bodies, and vehicles out of the wreckage there as early as Sunday.
네, 이제 몬주라고 하는 the state of Mon 이 마을에서 어떤 산사태가 발생을 했습니다. 그래서 지금 선생님 말씀해 주신 대로 외신에 따르면은 현재까지 사망자 수가 52명까지 집계가 됐다고 지금 말씀을 해 주셨어요. 주택이 수십 채 쏟아져 내린 진흙더미 밑에 깔려 있다고 하고요. 차량도 여러 대가 손실이 되면서 많은 사망자 또 피해자가 발생을 하고 있고 당국은 현재 계속 수색 작업 진행 중이라고 합니다.
Some more statistics here regarding the damage. It said that floodwaters have submerged more than 4,000 houses in the state of Mon, displacing more than 25,000 residents. Interestingly, climate scientists back in 2015 did rank Myanmar at the top of a global list of nations hardest hit by extreme weather.
Wow. And I understand that about 3,800, let me get my numbers straight. 38,000명가량이 지금 집을 잃었다고 지금 외신은 보도하고 있거든요. That's the number of people displaced because of the latest landslide.
Yes, I do believe that's the overall number displaced because this is happening, as we said, primarily in the state of Mon, but there have been other states affected as well. So I think in
that
Mon,
number could go up.
25,000, but in a larger area, yes, indeed, 38,000, and perhaps regrettably still increasing.
Okay, let's leave that story there and go on to our next one.
Headline number 5. At least 57 people have died in a fuel tanker explosion in Tanzania.
아프리카 탄자니아에서 유조차가 폭발해 최소 57명이 사망했습니다.
So our headline mentions 57 people. This is unfortunately an ongoing story with different outlets reporting different numbers. Some of them as high already as 71.
Wow.
What we do know with some level of certainty is that this fuel tanker had been driving down the road when it apparently tried to avoid a motorcycle that was on the road, causing then this fuel tanker to overturn. Several people were said then to approach the fuel tanker in an effort to siphon fuel from it, that is to remove fuel from the tanker, upon which the tanker exploded, bursting into flames and killing many people on the scene.
네, fuel tanker, 우리말로 이제 유조차라고 하죠. 유조차가 폭발을 했기 때문에 그 사고로 인해서 굉장히 많은 사망자가 발생했다고 하고요. 주변에 있던 사람들이 이제 대거 참변을 당했기 때문에 숫자가 계속 올라가고 있습니다. BBC에 따르면은 지금까지 집계된 사망자 수가 71명까지도 보도가 되고 있네요. 외신 보도에 따라서 이 숫자는 조금 상이합니다만 지금까지 제일 높은 집계라고 볼 수 있겠습니다. 이제 연료를 적재한 이 유조차가 폭발을 했기 때문에 굉장히 큰 사고로 이어졌다고 합니다. 모로고로라는 지역에서 사고가 발생한 거죠. This place is called Morogoro. I think it's in the east of Tanzania.
Yes, indeed it is. And it also occurred very close to a bus station, which serves as a major hub for passengers traveling to other parts of Tanzania. And it is a popular spot also where motorbike taxis are quite common. And again, it is thought to be the source of that accident that the fuel tanker was trying to avoid one of these motorcycles.
It's not the first time that something like this has happened because I understand in parts of Africa, when fuel fuel tankers, they break down or stop working for some reason, people will come to steal the fuel, and then that can actually lead to big accidents if it does explode.
That's exactly what happened in this case. According to eyewitnesses, there were some 150 people at the scene of that explosion, and that's indeed what many of them were said to be doing. They were trying to siphon, or that is, remove fuel from that tanker, presumably for their own personal use or perhaps to resell it themselves.
네, 굉장히 안타깝게도 이런 사고가 아프리카에서는 비일비재하다고 합니다. 지난 1월에도 비슷한 일이 나이지리아에서 있었는데요. 이제 고장난 유조차에서 기름을 훔치려는 그런 사람들이 결국은 이제 유조차가 폭발하면서 참변을 당하는 일이 있었습니다. Let's go on to our final headline.
Headline number 6. Victims of sex offender Jeffrey Epstein have expressed outrage over reports of his apparent suicide.
미성년자 성범죄 혐의로 수감된 제프리 앱스타인의 옥중 사망 소식에 피해 여성들은 분노하고 있습니다.
Now, this apparent suicide comes actually after a earlier, also apparent suicide attempt by Jeffrey Epstein on July 23rd. He was found unconscious in his cell with marks around his neck. At that time, he was placed on a suicide watch, given that it was suspected he had attempted suicide then. He was sometime around July 29th removed from that suicide watch, and that's what many people are questioning, is why would he have been removed from that suicide watch? Nevertheless, he was found this time dead in his cell on Saturday morning, August 10th, local time in Lower Manhattan.
Tell us about Epstein.
Well, the headline mentions that he is a sex offender. He had been convicted back in 2008 of procuring the services of a child prostitute. For that, he was sentenced to 18 months in prison. He did not serve that full 18 months, however. He is a wealthy man, or at least was a wealthy man. The size of his estate is exactly unknown, although many people do put it at well more than $500 million US.
He had ties to really big names, like the current president and former President Bill Clinton as well. So he was very influential and rich.
He was both of those things, influential and rich. The recent allegations, there are new allegations that came out against him, so that's why many headlines will refer to him as an accused offender, because there were new accusations against him. And in those, there were some, I believe, thousands of pages of documents released. And in those documents, yes, indeed, the names, as you say, the current president did appear, as well as past presidents and other influential figures.
네, 그렇습니다. 11년 전에도 최소 37명의 미성년자에게 성행위를 강요한 혐의로 종신형 위기에 처했었지만 이제 가까스로 불기소 처분을 받은 바가 있습니다. 그때도 좀 논란이 됐었는데요. 이번에는 이렇게 자살을 했다는 소식이 전해지고 있습니다. 피해 여성들은 분노를 하고 있습니다. 이 사건이 이렇게 해서 끝나지 않기를 바랍니다. Those were our headlines for this morning. Let's now remind our listeners of the quiz.
Our quiz this morning asks this question. We can use this word to refer to 100 years. What is this word? Number 1, mystery, or number 2, century?
네, 짧은 문자 50원, 긴 문자 100원에 샵 1045로 보내주시고요. 단디 게시판이나 카카오톡 플러스 이용도 가능합니다. 추첨을 통해서 총 5분께 고칼슘 살론 두유 보내드릴게요. 노래 듣고 와서 뉴스 포커스 살펴볼 텐데요. This is the attitude to have. Take it easy by the Eagles.